Josephine Margaret Bakhita was born around 1869 in the Darfur region of Sudan. In 1877, Josephine was kidnapped by Arab slave traders, and over the next 12 years, she would be bought, sold, and given away over a dozen times. Her experiences as a slave varied from fair treatment to cruel. She was a maid for her first owner. After offending her owner's son, she was severely beaten and sold. She then had a Turkish general for an owner. His wife and mother-in-law beat her daily. She suffered 114 scars from this abuse. In 1883, the Turkish general sold her to the Italian vice-consul Callisto Ligani. He was a kind master. When he returned to Italy, she begged him to take her, and he agreed. While there, she served another family as a nanny. When her new mistress went on a trip, Josephine was placed in the custody of the Canossian sisters in Venice. She was deeply moved by her time there, and discerned a call to follow Christ. When her mistress returned, Josephine refused to leave. The superior of the Institute for Baptismal Candidates complained to Italian authorities on Josephine's behalf. The case went to court, and they found that slavery was outlawed in Sudan before Josephine was born, so she could not be lawfully made a slave. Josephine was declared free. She was baptized in 1890 and took the name Josephine Margaret and Fortunata. Josephine became a novice with the Canossian Daughters of Charity religious order in 1893 and took her final vows in 1896. She was gentle and charismatic, and often referred to lovingly as Little Brown Sister, or honorably as Black Mother. On February 8, 1947, Josephine spoke her last words, Our Lady, Our Lady. Her body lay on display for 3 days after her death. St. Josephine Bakhita was beatified in 1992 and canonized in 2000 by Pope John Paul II. She is the patron saint of Sudan, and her feast day is celebrated on February 8th.
St. Josephine Bakhita was born in the village of Olgassa in the Darfur region of Sudan in 1869. She died February 8th, 1947 at the age of 78. She was a Sudanese Italian Canossian religious sister who lived in Italy for 45 years after having been a slave in Sudan. She was declared a saint by the Church on October 1st, 2000 at St. Peter's Basilica in the Vatican City by Pope John Paul II. St. Josephine survived human trafficking. When asked what she would do if she'd met those who kidnapped and enslaved her, she said, If I were to meet those who kidnapped me, and even those who tortured me, I would kneel and kiss their hands. For if these things had not happened, I would have not been a Christian and a religious today. She showed a lot of forgiveness and grace towards those who wronged her by enslaving and kidnapping her. She was enslaved and trafficked in Sudan. She worked as a maid for a wealthy Arab man for his daughters and was well liked by them. After accidentally offending the man's son, possibly by breaking a vase, the son kicked her so severely that she was unable to move from her straw bed for over a month. She was then sold and owned by a Turkish general who was very cruel to her. She said, During all the years I stayed in that house, I do not recall a day that passed without some wound or other. When a wound from a whip began to heal, other blows would pour down on me. She recalled that one memory she had there was being marked with a process resembling tattooing or scarring, like when ranch owners brand their horses. A woman used flour to draw lines and then cut deeply along those lines. They then put salt to ensure permanent scarring. 114 intricate patterns were cut into her breasts, belly, and right arm. The general later would sell her to an owner who treated her much better and did not beat or abuse her. 2 years later, the owner moved back to Italy and brought her with him. They landed in Genoa with her owner and friend named Augusta Micheli. Her owner gave ownership to Micheli's wife, where she lived for 3 years at their family villa in Zianigo, about 25 kilometers west of Venice. She later returned to Sudan with the family. St. Josephine Bakhita showed us that no matter how mistreated we were, that we will find God through those experiences, and that we should forgive those people and find the good in these situations. St. Josephine showed great amount of trust in God and grace for the people that mistreated her, and this is something we can all learn from. We can all realize the greater good that comes out of the struggles in life, and I think this is a very valuable lesson, especially in the world right now. Bakhita saw the good that came from her enslavement and forgave those who enslaved her. In the world right now, we can find the greater good that comes from the situation we are in right now with this global pandemic. We can learn from Josephine to see how we as individual people, the earth, and we as a society can benefit and grow from the struggles we face in the world.